I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. It was surreal as I was hearing it. It's been a journey.
Yeah. So that's where we begin from. Before we talk about the new role, let's go back to where you reached out to us. What was going on in your career?
I had a good career. On paper, it looked great because I was in this company for 9 years. It was a big company, household name of brands. And even in the company, I got like great roles, coveted roles in industry, e-commerce, shopper marketing, brand marketing in world's number one baby care brand. It was my dream career until it wasn't. One day, I mean, obviously the realization didn't hit me one day, but I had grown comfortable because I came to my dream role and I had slowed down and I wasn't growing. And somehow the dream role was killing my hunger to grow. So what was happening in the background was I started thinking there's something wrong with me because I'm not achieving to the ways I would want to. So I kept trying harder. I kept trying to prove to everyone. I kept trying to prove to myself. And every time I failed, a part of my self-belief would chip away. It took me 2 years to realize that I should leave that place because this was not working for me. But by the time I realized it, my self belief was at rock bottom. Uh, I couldn't make my CV. I would think that no one would hire me. I wouldn't get calls. Probably had the worst CV in the industry. And I'm not exaggerating because I have literally sat there with my CV for 2 hours just looking at it. And that's when I had reached out that I need help right now because I'm not able to get through this.
Yeah. So, how many of you listening to this can relate to this moment that it's been your dream role, you really enjoyed working there, and then you reach a point when that same role becomes your comfort zone, and that is where your belief starts coming down. So, comfort does this first thing to you, it actually starts reducing your confidence in yourself. So, like I said, this is a story I'm narrating for Bobby. So, in your early coaching conversations, you kept saying you probably don't have it in you, others are doing so well, you are left behind, you weren't lacking capability, right? What you were lacking was confidence. How did this change? What did you do first?
So the first thing that was done was the map. And I know the map sounds so simple. I had actually spent like 2, 3 hours to make it. It just opened my eyes because I was like, I don't even know where I want to go. So I'm not going anywhere. It's not making sense. And it's so simple, but it's the most powerful thing that I did because then I realized around me also, people don't know their 3, 5, 10 year plan. So that's why they're
Yes,
struggling. They're figuring out what's happening. And it's not their fault because in our heads, if we don't really put a structure to it, you will think of the next thing and you will think about the life you want and you would just try to build loose habits around it, which honestly does not help. So it became very helpful to understand what I really wanted in life. But having the map does not kill the self doubt. And anyone who comes and tells me or tells anyone that your self doubt will go in a jiffy, in 1 week, in 1 month is lying because they do not understand the weight of that self-doubt. It is paralyzing.
yes,
And with self-doubt also comes victim mindset, right?
absolutely.
You start thinking, poor me, it's wrong with me, they're not looking at my effort. So when Bobby ma'am or Dheeraj sir or even my husband would come and tell me that, we believe in you. I would be like, I would actually be like in tears because I know something in me moved. But then I'd be thinking, how are you guys believing in me when I don't believe in myself? So Bobby ma'am helped me train my mind because she challenged my belief a lot. And she would ask me for evidence to which I will have answers also. Every time I came back with answer. But I ran out of excuses. And again, I wouldn't say that the transformation happened immediately. There was one thing that I was told in my group coaching class, which was, what value are you adding? And that shifted everything for me because that was one thing I could hold on to and look at the light at the end of the tunnel because I didn't have to focus on I'm miserable or oh my God, look at me. But I could just focus on what can I do? How is it going to change me? So I started asking myself that question again and again. Tough conversation at work, go back and do what value will it add? Second conversation or like conversations with myself, what value am I adding to me? And eventually, for a girl who didn't make her CV for, actually, I didn't update my CV for 3 years actually. Uh, and with 100 pushes and this mindset, one day my CV was ready. And my friends didn't believe me because they were like, "You are not making it. We have told you so many times, but we can't believe your CV is ready."
Wow. So, yes, the mindset shifted, but mindset alone isn't enough, right? You also prepared strategically with Bobby. What did that journey look like?
So that journey in hindsight was actually a little grueling journey, but it was important. So the first thing I did was apply like a mad woman. I just took my CV and I had to get out of that inertia, which by the way, Bobby ma'am went very patiently through. Because I just got onto every job site and I applied. So for the first 100, and I had a goal of 100 applications in 30 days before I get a call. I did that in 20 days, after which Bobby ma'am comes back and says, "Hey, we have to relook at it because this is not going to help. You can't keep on applying and waste your energy." And then she really pushed me to reach out to my network and get referrals. Now, that was painful again because it's so awkward to ask for help, saying that, "Hey, can you help me in this job?" Because there's so much explanation to do. And there was really a structure made to this. So, Bobby ma'am made me write people I knew in which company, and somehow I couldn't get myself to do it. Honestly, I didn't even believe in her reasons. The only reason I did it was after one point, I didn't know what to tell her. So I would be like, before my next session, I will reach out to this person. And I'm sure a lot of us go through this, but this is where the magic happened. People were going out of their way to HRs, giving me update on where the role was. I started getting calls, and that's when the next step happened, which is again very excruciating process. In every coaching session, Bobby ma'am would make me sit and revisit the entire interview, question by question, expression by expression, on what happened. And while telling that, I'd be like, why why does ma'am want to know this? Or why do I need to tell this? But eventually she would come back with an insight on why the other person did not react the way I expected them to react, or what did I say wrong because I was in the motion of speaking. It really helped me. It gave me a lot of confidence to present my own work, and by the end of it, I think I was walking into like 2 interviews a day, and I was like, fine, it's just 2 interviews. We have to just get through this.
Wow. So, we all are listening to her and we know how much of work has happened and she's talking so confidently. But one fear kept coming repeatedly. What was that fear?
So I still love the place. In the past, like at least when I had applied 4 years ago, I gave up off. Like I didn't apply. I mean, whatever offers I had gotten, I would just let it go. They were dream roles. I would let it go because this is home. These are people I know. These are processes I know. Some of my best friends stay here. How can I lead this? And I was always scared I'll go into a culture that's has a lot of politics, bad people. I had to watch my back. In fact, just to make you understand the gravity of how important this place was, I have not stayed in my childhood home as long as I've stayed in this place because I went to boarding by then. And I was like, okay, this feels like home to me. But eventually, I also started to realize that not growing also bothered me because every session I would come and rant to Bobby Mom were the same things. And she would obviously like take it patiently, and then she would also help me understand that growth was important. I wanted to grow, I wanted to shine. But growth and comfort do not go together. And price of growth is discomfort. So I had to live with it. The choice was hard, but it was becoming clearer that if I wanted something, I had to give up the comfort zone I had.
And when this inner thing changed, something interesting happened. You did not just receive one offer, you received two. Tell us what happened.
So again, very interesting journey. Uh, I got the offer from the company which I joined, which is Noah, also in the most insane way because I was working on weekends and weekdays, having insane work hours so long that I was managing on 3 hours of sleep. So obviously, I didn't have time to prepare for the interview. Only preparation was whatever Bobby ma'am had given me as pointers. Uh, I had 5 rounds in 3 days. It's like it can be a story for another day, but somehow after 3 days, I land an offer, which is surreal to me because I'm like, I don't know what these guys are, but they had 5 rounds with every level. I also ended up getting through a established company. And then I decided not to go there because I was like, fine, I need to build something on my own. Noah gives me that chance. So I just go and tell them, no, I don't want to join you guys. What happens 5 minutes later is I get a 50% hike and another promotion promise in 1 year because the role I got in Noah is actually two levels above what I was doing in Kenvue or Johnson and Johnson, as you would call it. The other company was one level above, promise of like promotion another, and I was like, okay, what's happening? And honestly, I wasn't thinking like this in my head. I wasn't thinking, oh my God, I arrived in life. But I ended up opening the map one day, just like that. And then I'm telling Bobby ma'am that the role I was supposed to get, I had labeled it for 3 years later. This is exactly the salary I had put down. I have gotten it. The hike was good. Uh, and it was like and this role is two level above, and I never thought that someone will call me for a role at this stage. So honestly, it's still surreal to me. But I'm living surreally through my dream life, so I'm happy.
Wow. So you've taken up your dream job, you've settled into the new organization. How does it look like now?
The first thing I want to tell people is most fears are imaginary. Okay, I have gotten like better people, nicer culture, people who bring so much passion, dedication, and drive at work that it's difficult for you not to be energized. So I actually look forward to going to office. I don't dread Mondays. I work on my growth areas, on the things I like, with people I like. So I don't think I can ask for anything more.
Wow. That's really amazing. There's another one achievement which I want you to talk about because many people don't know about this achievement, the most successful campaign that you had in Johnson. In fact, when I was going through that campaign, I myself had tears in my eyes. Just talk about that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for first going through the campaign. And it definitely was a special piece I worked on because I think the mindset of adding value entailed even when I knew I was going to get out of this place. Because the one thing I had learned in a very hard way was you cannot not learn and keep growing. You have to continue learning wherever you are. So I kept on working on this campaign. This was honestly, from a brand campaign perspective, lowest budgets, lowest airtime, the most impact that any big campaign had done at that point. So we knew that something was happening well. And anyway, a lot of things were happening in my life. So I did not really put a lot of thought into it. The campaign is called Project Golden Minute. It's a purpose driven campaign to help save babies, especially in rural India. And we tried to really make a very end to end sort of campaign with it. Obviously, went on, like you had said, went on to win 36 awards. 20 of them were Abbeys. Abbeys are like Oscar equivalent in Indian advertising. So it is one of the most that a brand has won in the history of FMCG. And it's, by the way, the awards are still coming. So this is probably one of the biggest win for Kenvue as an org, for the Johnson's Baby brand as well in history. And not only that, we ended up getting the final can shortlist. We were one of the very few Indian brands to have gotten that. So it was an incredible achievement. But it honestly, like by this time, it was like, okay, this is happening. I think I was still more proud about the fact that I was able to come out of the paralysis that this self doubt had gotten me to and got to working on the things I wanted to. So much so that eventually I ended up, I think for this also, Bobby Ma'am would have pushed me for like 2 months to put a LinkedIn post, but I did. And the amount of love I got on the campaign was surreal. So it just meant that I should kind of own up what I'm doing and kind of come up from that self belief.
Wow. So many professionals hold themselves back because of fear. What is your piece of advice for them today after this experience?
The first thing is don't let your mind become your biggest barrier. Most of the fears, most of the limits we believe are not real. And do not self reject. I have done that so many times. So if I look at you and I see you self rejecting, I will come to you and be like, please do not self reject. The entire world is out there to do that. You should not be one of them. And there are stories we keep on repeating to ourselves. Investing in this entire journey has actually helped me change some of those stories. There's still a long way to go, but I'm already seeing the benefits. And when my mindset changed, everything else followed, even though I still don't believe it, because I remember the first conversation I had sat down with when Dheeraj sir had said that, we know that most of our candidates get through this much high gap. This person is really like exaggerating. And when I get it, I'm like, no, 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 they were not. It's really happening.
So thank you very much, Payal, for really sharing this story. I hope every one of you have really important realized something very important here. This story is not just about changing jobs. It is not also about just getting the role that she targeted 3 years down the line, nor the salary that she had written down and she got. It was about changing one belief: I am not good enough. The moment that belief changed, prepared differently, she interviewed differently, she made decisions differently, and life responded differently. 36 awards and maybe more coming on the way happens when you move something inside and you feel, I've done a good job. So, the biggest lesson from the first hot seat is your career will never go beyond the beliefs you hold about yourself. Sometimes the promotion, the dream role, or the salary isn't waiting for you to become more talented. It's waiting for you to finally believe that you already have what it takes.